But there's more going on beyond that. And there's something I want to talk about because this is like driving me nuts. This weekend it was driving me fucking nuts. I saw this and I was like, how is this even possible? I know that people say that our minds are changed, we're missing things, we misconstrue facts from our childhood or our life. But I want to talk about Mr. Rogers in the weather. Everybody, now it's time for the weather. That segment that's about anything, everything, and all up, left, and right, things that communicate with the entertainment industry, but also very weird and out there and something different. So, Mr. Rogers. Now, in my mind, synonymous with this, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, in my mind. And Eddie Murphy, when he did SNL, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. But is it? Or is it, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood? Because in my mind, it's always been the neighborhood. And hopefully, I'm not alone here. I know I'm not alone. I know a lot of people think the same thing. And I know I've seen it in a lot of texts recently. But there's a new documentary coming out about this, about the Mandela effect. And one of the biggest things they're pushing forward is about Mr. Rogers. And we watch this man come home, put his sweater on, take his shoes off, sit down and tell us a story. But I always thought it was something about the neighborhood. Like, the neighborhood's like us, all of us, our neighborhood, not this neighborhood. But apparently, I'm being told recently that my memory's wrong, that I'm part of the Mandela effect, that I have no idea what the fuck I'm thinking because it's always been this neighborhood. Oh my God, am I insane? I might be fucking insane. But this is the weather, everybody, so let's talk about some weird shit. So, Mandela effect's crazy. We've talked about it on the show a few times. Talk about Coca-Cola changing theirs, Jiffy or Jif. We always thought it was Jif. I still think it's always been Depends. Depends is just in my mind. It's probably the Midwestern person. Maybe in Michigan, we always put S's on the back. Myers, we always do that shit. So maybe that's what it is. Fruit Loops, I always do Fruit Loops. But this Mandela effect thing's been going on for a long time. But we hear this. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. Am I all fucking alone on this? Did anybody else think this? Carter, did you ever watch Mr. Rogers? And have you ever fallen victim of the Mandela effect? And did you fall victim in this instance?
Wow. Well, I did watch a little bit of Mr. Rogers growing up, but the things I was really big into as a young kid, it was sporadic. I was really into my Pokemon as a kid. I started out with Power Rangers, which got me into karate, and of course, my mom forced me to watch Barney when I was in Hebrew school, so that was kind of hard. But yeah, me and my
over you.
Oh, cringe. But frankly, I didn't really watch that much TV. So when it comes to Mandela effect, oh man, it's a toss up. It really is, to be quite frank.
Doesn't affect you as much. There's nothing that stands out for you at all. Like, do you watch Star Wars? You ever see the Star Wars thing with that Luke, I am your father thing?
Oh, absolutely. Like The Empire Strikes Back. When I watched that as a kid for the first time, I was like, I want more. I want to see the Return of the Jedi right now. So it was more of a curiosity factor when I was a kid because, like, I don't like The Empire Strikes Back because I want to see Luke win. And when Return of the Jedi was introduced to me, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Here's that moment for you, Carter. Did you have that moment like in your memory? Because a lot of people have it. I have it too. It's like, Luke, I am your father. In my mind, that's burnt in my memory. That's what Vader says to him. But he doesn't even say that. He just says, I am your father. Right, GR?
Mm-hmm. We talked about this a couple weeks ago.
I know. I'm always used to hearing the Luke. Did you ever hear that before when you were thinking back about your movie days?
Oh, man.
Carter, yeah. Carter, because he's talking about Star Wars, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh, it's I mean, you're really stumping me because I didn't really think about that as much as a kid. Like it just kind of flew over my head. I was just entranced as a child by watching these movies and just being astounded and just like, wow, this is amazing. But also, it kind of put me in a state of fear because I'm like, oh, I'm glad Darth Vader isn't my dad, but if he was, how do I handle this?
It's a good question. I think that the Mandela effect has affected a lot of people though too. It's like a weird thing. It's the weirdest thing. People think we're like multiverses and shit. Like we're in a different, like it keeps changing. They're resetting our matrix. There's all this. Carter, do you believe in that? That we could be living in a simulation? This is like a weird conversation we have randomly. Do you ever see like anything that can make you think that?
Oh man. Well, in this industry and in the world with the way it is right now, it's like that old saying, I never say never to those possibilities. And if we are living in one of those things like the Matrix, if you will, it would not surprise me one iota, because with the world on fire, but with so many amazing things going on outside of the hoopla and outside of what you see perhaps on the news and otherwise, I feel like there's more good going on in the world than there is bad. But unfortunately, the bad is amped up so much that it puts a lot of people on edge. So if we're living in that kind of stimulation where we're getting gypped, we've been had all this time, then whoever's pulling the strings is doing a really good artistic job.
Yeah, you're right. I want to explain for Edergan. I'm sorry, man. Or I'm sorry. New cruise control fan. The Mandela effect, really what it is. And of course, break it down for you. So the idea is that people's memories are a little weird. We think Berenstain Bears, Fruit Loop spells with Fruit as opposed to Froot. The idea is out there's this whole thing about how we've been rewritten, restructured our universe, our way of looking, our way of life. So the things we believe are reality are actually been changed throughout time, like little tweaks. And there's a certain group of people that realize that, like, wait, isn't it supposed to be like this? And it's something totally different, like Depends. I said, well, they're actually Depend diapers for adults, right? You use Depend, but people always thought it was Depends. And so people are saying the Mandela effect is that we were rewritten. It was all rewritten and it changed. We switched to a different multiverse, or history was written some way from a program and it changed it from Depends to Depends, but there's remnants of memory. It's like the Matrix about the Matrix, they call it a deja vu, where we're changing stuff from the Matrix. It's that whole idea. And of course, it goes to, and like, why do we call it the Mandela effect? Well, that goes into a very different topic right there. And then what happened was Nelson Mandela, when he people thought he died a long time ago. They thought he died, and there's this whole thing, and then people all remembered his funeral and all this. It was like the biggest effect. Everybody's like, we remember this, but he was still alive. But there's a lot of people that remembered him being dead, and they remember the whole progression of his funeral. And so that's where it kind of got its legs from. They call it Mandela effect based off that. It's a crazy thing. GR, what about this Mr. Rogers thing? Is this a thing that you remember, or do you remember this neighborhood?
No, I remember the original, and it was nothing like this. The Mandela effect is just something they came up with because people remember different things. They talked about it in some of the pre-shows that we looked at. How many people were in the car with Kennedy when he was killed?
I don't even know. 4?
So total 6 people in the car.
Mm-hmm.
If you count the one Secret Service guy, but 3 in the front, 2 in the back, and the Secret Service guy. That's it. But everybody thinks it's just the Kennedys and the driver. But
it wasn't though.
Rogers, I watched that as a kid. I am a little youth deprived compared to you two, but it was a great show about.
So you
go ahead, Brian.
You remember this neighborhood then? You remember this neighborhood?
No. I do and I don't. You know, you hear what you think you hear.
So you semi remember the neighborhood. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that's the song.
I know, but according to reality, it's this neighborhood, GR. It's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere. If you look for the video on YouTube, it all says this. And that's the Mandela effect right there. But I would say Eddie Murphy, again, Axel F is out. I'm going to watch that still. I heard it's great. But he did a whole thing even. You watched it? It was good?
Oh, yeah. I watched it maybe tonight. It was original.
Oh, well, the new one, though. You watched the new one?
No, I like Eddie's version back in the day.
Oh, okay. Well, the new one has Eddie Murphy in it, too. New Axel will is him. It's on Netflix. He's back. Oh, the whole crew's back.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going.
It just dropped. It's like they're playing dun 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 dun. The same shit, you know. They're back in it. Joseph Gordon-Levitt from the show. Ground Plus for Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You know, I talked about Eddie Murphy And any of the cops in that show would be on Social Security.
Oh, nowadays you're saying?
Come on. How long ago did
Well, they're all
Axel
coming out of
Foley come
retirement.
out? 40
They're all
years
coming out of
ago?
retirement to help Axel out again. He's got to save the day one more time. His daughter's involved. Joseph Gordon-Levitt's dating his daughter.
Foley would be on
Shenanigans.
Social Security, Ryan. Come on.
Hey, leave
That
Axel F
show
alone.
came out 40 years ago. There's no cop that works for 40 plus years.
Well, he's coming back, GR. He's getting back in the saddle again. That's what's happening, right? He's going to get back in the saddle one more time.
Excuse me.
I'm just saying.
Carter got it.
I'm going to say this Mandela effect shit's crazy to me. And I even GR like gave his own thing. I remember like It's a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. And I think a lot of us did. Again, there's a lot of sketches and shorts you can find on YouTube where people say the neighborhood too. So I just think that there's a weird thing about this. Is there a real Mandela effect happening? Is life really like that? It's a weird thing to think about. And sometimes we got to question our reality. Just take a moment. Just question it. You know, if a lot of us think one thing, Carter, maybe there's something to it, right?
Maybe there is something to it. You never know.
Well,
You never know.
If we're living in a bubble, we wouldn't know it anyway. So,
Dave? Dave's got nothing. All right, next time, Dave. Next time. Yeah, you know, I just really think it's very fascinating. I saw this. I just want to fucking talk about it for a second. So I think it's interesting. If you didn't know that, check it out. Because I think Mr. Rogers is very influential. And there's a lot of things like that we will probably continue to talk about in the weather because it's fucking weird.